Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and usually I'd be on camera for this kind of video, but this is the weekend of Canadian Thanksgiving, and I found myself with not a lot of extra time for recording this week, unfortunately. This voiceover format is just a lot easier to push through quickly, and I don't actually have as much to say about the next matchup debate-wise. Right now, though, I'll say that I think this matchup idea is pretty cool. Wasn't at the top of my list, but Dante was one of my most wanted returning combatants, so I'm very pleased with that. Plus, it's nice to see Deathbattle delve into a different Final Fantasy game than just 7, and it's all but confirmed that this will be the Torrian animation, if that hasn't already been literally confirmed when I post this. Now, I feel like I say this for a number of death battles, but the biggest hurdle with this one to me, even more than usual, is trying to anticipate what they're gonna buy for these characters. Because even if they give them similar amounts of leeway for their power and speed, which I definitely assume they will, that doesn't mean the discrepancy between them would be the same across the many interpretations with these kinds of video games. And a decent amount of this overlaps with lore, so it's not like everyone's going to agree on anything either. Although given that Deathbattle incorporates lore a lot more now, I'm personally thinking they'll land somewhere on the higher side for stats, but probably not Dissidia or DMC crossovers. They could say something else and it could completely ruin what I'm thinking, but hey, gotta stick with something for this, even when it's not a guarantee. So that begs the question, how powerful and fast could these characters be? Well, this is likely going to come down to other characters they fought or can compare to, where the feats definitely reach higher highs than your average gameplay. For example, one of the main things that gets thrown around for Dante is comparing to, or now upscaling from Mundus, who seemingly created a universe under his own power. Now, the guidebooks do make it clear that this was a creation feat, and it's described as an infinitely expanding realm, implying a big bang of some nature. The director of the game also seems to be in agreement with that, so personally, I'm willing to buy this, although obviously I can't speak for Deathbattle at this moment. But based on what they've used for other characters recently, I'm thinking these kinds of levels for DMC will at least be considered. Clive actually seems to match up pretty well in this regard if we do something similar and compare him to Ultima. No, not Godzilla. Ultima is the creator of super powerful beings called icons, can manifest interdimensional rifts, and, presumably using his own power, tried using a spell that would have reshaped the universe, or potentially destroy it and create a new one. This isn't even including the multiplier Clive would then get from his Ifrit Risen state, but of course Dante has his Sin Devil trigger mode, and his base form strength has most certainly grown since the scaling mentioned before. I could see them being pretty even as far as speed goes as well. I've seen faster than light to massively faster than light estimates for both, which tend to be in the same range, or favoring Dante a little bit, and either way, he definitely has more experience using his time manipulation techniques than Clive does using the time freeze ability he got from Shiva. But of course, we have other categories to look at too that aren't as interpretational, including arsenal and abilities. Dante's full list of weapons, styles, and general powers is pretty absurd, as I'm sure we all know, and his regen is pretty damn busted, relatively speaking too. But frankly, a lot of this could also be said for Clive, as he also gains new powers based on who or what he's defeated, like the icons and Ultima. Dante has some pretty good elemental manipulation, but probably not to the same extent as Clive's mastery over like every element imaginable by the end of the story. He's got lots of energy projection and some hackier stuff like Odin's Zantetsuken ability that can cleave through space and dimensions. He also technically destroyed the concept of magic in his universe, but that was by destroying the Nexus, which destroyed the Origin Crystal, so still very powerful, but almost definitely not a conceptual hacks that's part of his power set. I would say Clive is the more intelligent fighter between the two overall, but Dante's experience should edge out by a similar amount. Neither of them are lacking in the skill areas whatsoever, and they have more overlapping powers. However, one of the biggest differences I'm getting from all this is when you compare each character's general offense to the other's general defense. Both can create shields of various sorts, but while Clive has quite a few methods of potent healing, nothing I've seen implies he can heal from the craziest stuff Dante has survived, even in base, nor does he really have a way to negate Dante's healing. I would also say Dante is still more versatile by numbers alone, and has some more unique capabilities like duplication, telekinesis, absorbing, building up, and releasing energy with Royal Guard, even more mobility and defensive options happens if he's given Yamato again, and resistances to at least matter, mental, soul, and time manipulation. Even trying to look at the crazier stuff Clive would have after absorbing Ultima, like making illusions and potentially not even needing a physical form to survive and fight, Dante has been shown to resist or still be able to interact with, and there's no question that he knows how to work around space cutting. On the flip side, Clive hasn't shown too many explicit resistances, except Ultima trying to possess him, and maybe the Final Fantasy XVI elements, but definitely not Dante's Hellfire generation items, which can seemingly hurt spiritual forms, or stopping time for beings that can resist other time manipulation, for example. Even if this battle gets to the point where they just have to wear each other down, they can both pull out different tricks for a long time, but I can't see Clive outlasting Dante. And I also don't think he has enough effective Haxi abilities to prevent it from getting to that point, whereas Dante has at least a higher chance of doing so in his favor, even if it would be difficult. So again, all of this could come crashing down if Deathbattle looks at their stats in a different enough way, but given what I would anticipate from them and the other edges I feel I can decipher, I think I gotta side with Dante for the time being. I think this is actually a pretty close and definitely debatable fight. Clive is very impressive and has the potential to really surprise some people with what he can do. If not straight up win the whole thing, I think that's a very real possibility. But from my understanding, Dante still surpasses him just a bit in more of the big areas, that if I really had to pick a safer bet for winning more times out of 100, I will slightly place my faith in the Son of Sparta. But of course, let me know what you all think in the comments below, like and subscribe if you want to see more stuff from me, and yeah, hope everyone here is having a great day, and I'll see you when I see ya. Peace out.